Welcome to the Geula Mindset, Episode 2. The main focus of this episode will be on the mitzvah of Ahavas Yisroel. Love a fellow like yourself. So important is this mitzvah that the Alter Rebbe, the first Lubavitcher Rebbe, when he compiled his siddur, added right in the morning after the brachas, before Ma'atovu, he put in a line that says, Harini mikabel alai mitzvahs aseh shel v'ahavta l'reacha kamocha. It is proper to recite the following before prayer. I hereby accept upon myself the mitzvah of loving my fellow as myself. In 1942, the Lubavitcher Rebbe, before he was a Rebbe in 1942, was asked by his father-in-law, the previous Rebbe, to compile a sefer of daily lessons called Hayom Yom. And it was a leap year, and there were probably about 380 or so daily lessons, and I'd have to say about 5% of them deal in some manner with this mitzvah of Ahavas Yisroel. And to read you a few, on the 15th of Kislev, it says, the Alter Rebbe told his son, the Mittler Rebbe, quote, grandfather, that's what the Alter Rebbe considered the Baal Shem Tov. Grandfather said that one must have Mesiras Nefesh, total self-sacrifice and dedication for the mitzvah of Ahavas Yisroel, love of one's fellow, even towards a Jew whom one has never seen. Now, before you get cynical and say, well, it's easy to love a fellow Jew I've never met, I've never seen, it's the Jews I do know that I find hard to love, comes the third day of Adar Rishon. The Alter Rebbe said, the mitzvah of Ahavas Yisroel extends to anyone born into the people of Israel, even if you have never met him or her. But how much more so does it extend to every member, man or woman, of the Jewish community where you live, who belongs to your own community. And that includes your family and your family members. Comes along the 12th day of Menachem Av, and the Alter Rebbe repeated what the Maggid of Mezrich said, quoting the Baal Shem Tov, quote, love your fellow like yourself is an interpretation of and commentary on love Hashem, your God. He who loves his fellow Jew loves God, because the Jew has within himself a part of God above. Literally. Therefore, when one loves the Jew's inner essence, he loves God. That brings me to a discussion about the fact that Adam Harishon, according to Kabbalah, was a comprehensive soul, and that all of our souls today are a part of that one soul, and therefore when you love a fellow Jew like yourself, you are really loving yourself, because his or her soul is connected to your soul, and the only thing that separates us is our physical body. Now, so important is this mitzvah in relationship to bringing the Geula and Moshiach, that we learn that the second Beis Hamikdash was destroyed because of Sinas Chinam, baseless hatred. And that in every generation on Tisha B'Av, if the Beis Hamikdash was not rebuilt, it's as if that generation, our generation, is guilty of the same offense. But what is Sinas Chinam? What is baseless hatred? That's what we have to understand and come to grips with, so we can turn things around and bring the Geula once and for all. It seems as if when there's a dispute between people, or a dispute in a community, it's always based on something. There's always a rationale for the anger, for the controversy, for the jealousy. So what's baseless hatred? Well, let's examine this with 3 different examples. Example number 1. Imagine you have a business partner, and business is okay. Nothing special, but it's okay. And one morning you wake up and your bank account is cleaned out, gone. And you call up your partner to find out what's going on, and he's nowhere to be found. And you quickly deduce that your business partner has stolen all the funds of the company, has bankrupted, left you penniless and in debt, and now you hate him. Would that hatred be baseless? Well, if you poll a number of people, I imagine most would say it's not baseless, it's based on what he did to you. Okay, remember that and put it to the side. Example number 2. Susie Greenberg bullied you in high school and made your life miserable. You're now 50 years old and you're walking on the street with a friend and you see Susie Greenberg. And you say to your friend, do you see that person over there? That's Susie Greenberg. She made my life miserable when I was in high school. I hate Susie Greenberg. Is that hatred baseless? Well, if you poll some people, I'd imagine some would say yes, and some would say, well, maybe it shouldn't be such a problem anymore. That was a long time ago. Remember that and put that example to the side. And now let's imagine example number 3. You're living in a new community for about 10 years, and you see Joe Schmo, and you say to your friend, see Joe Schmo over there? I hate Joe Schmo. And your friend says, why? He says, did he ever do anything to you? And you say to your friend, no, I've never even had a conversation with him. That's the problem. He's never once said hello to me. He has that look on his face like he thinks he's all that. And he's never invited me and my family over for Shabbos. I hate Joe Schmo. Now, if you were to poll some people, would they say this is baseless or based on something? I would think that many people now say the problem is now in you because Joe Schmo never really did anything to you. So now we're getting to something, okay? For a long time, all the discussions about Ahavas Yisroel, love your fellow like yourself, have always been based on the other. Love them if they did something wrong to you. Love them if you never met them. Love them if no matter what, because they are just part of you and God said to, okay? But not enough discussion is about kamocha, loving a fellow as you love yourself, because it seems self-evident that we love ourselves, but is it? Maybe, just maybe, we need to explore, do we really love ourselves? Because if you don't really love yourself, how can you love another? And perhaps we can say that all of our examples are evidence of lack of loving yourself. And how do we say that? Well, if we really, really look deep inside ourselves and contemplate and meditate on who we actually are, why we're here, and what our purpose is, we would never have hatred for another Jew. And therefore, any hatred of any Jew is baseless. So let's explore a little bit about what I mean. If each of our souls are part of a comprehensive soul, and they are only divided and separated by our physical bodies, then we have to ask the question, why? Okay, because God sent us here on a mission. And that mission is to put that soul in a confined physical space, in a physical time, for the purpose of revealing God in this world. Chassidus Fundamentals 101. And that everything that's happened since God created the world is by Hashgacha Pratis, and everything that God does is good. Gamzu L'tova. Everything is good. And if we actually fully internalize the concept of Hashgacha Pratis and Gamza Latova, we would possibly never be upset or angry, at least not at another. It's human, yes, that's our animal soul, but it's not our inner essence. Okay? So, let's go back to our 3 examples. If you're looking at Joe Schmo and you've never ever had a conversation with Joe Schmo and you're starting to feel anger towards Joe Schmo because you think he's better than you, then you don't really realize who you are. That's easier to accept. What about Susie Greenberg? Now, Susie Greenberg made your life miserable in high school, but now you're a 50-year-old adult. And if you're still carrying that trauma, then you're living in the past. But the only thing that's happening ever is this present moment. And whatever happened in the past was good, even if you did not understand it at the time. And Susie Greenberg probably was going through her own struggles and was a bully as a coping mechanism for her lack of self-esteem. So at some point, you could recognize that, and many people will, because they're 50 and they're not 15. So they'll say, maybe Susie's changed, and if she's not changed, it's okay. I don't need to carry that pain of anger against her, because that pain only hurts me. So I will forgive Susie Greenberg, even if she's never apologized. It doesn't matter, because she's still a Jew going through her own journey. What about the business partner? What can we do with that example? Well, let's continue the possible story. You lost all your money, your business was shattered, you went into bankruptcy, and you had some problems for a while. But what if you took that opportunity to start a new business? And that business did 10 times better than the old business with that business partner. Now you could look back and say what happened to you then with him was now the best thing that ever happened to you, at least financially, and was a catalyst for doing something new and more successful. But what about the perspective of the business partner himself? Can we put ourselves into his shoes? Let's think about a possible scenario there. Maybe he had bills and debt that was more than the business had, and he was under such tremendous pressure he didn't know what to do, and he made a mistake, and he took the business money and he scrammed. And now he's remorseful many years later, but he doesn't know what to do. But he's remorseful. And slowly, over time, he starts paying you back until he's completely paid you back, while you're now running a better business than before. Can you find a place in your heart to forgive him? I want to tell you a true story about a friend of mine who lost his father. And the story is that the father had a gambling problem when my friend was young, and it caused a lot of pain for the family. The father and the mother divorced, and you can imagine, divorce is hard enough, but the father, used to borrow money and not pay back. But before the father passed away, my friend was visiting with him, and the father showed my friend a notebook. And that notebook had the name of every person that he borrowed money from for his gambling addiction. And next to the name, it had an amount. That was the amount that he borrowed from each person. And the notebook was full. And the last person's name and amount was not crossed out yet. And the father took a pen crossed out the last name, and told his son that he paid back every single person he ever borrowed money from. And that's what this notebook represented. And now he had crossed out the last name. And after he showed my friend, his son, the notebook, he took the notebook and he tossed it in the garbage. And he passed away soon after. Now, I'm not an expert in tshuva, but I'd say that this is a perfect example of practical tshuva between man and man. So never give up on anybody. Never give up on a fellow Jew. Never forget that each one of us is on his or her own journey. And until we put ourselves in the shoes of another, we can't judge them poorly. Always look at a fellow Jew with a good eye. And assume that if they've made a mistake, that there was a rationale to that mistake, and hopefully they'll make amends at some point in their life. So any animosity, any hatred between Jews is baseless at its core. So go back and have mercy on yourself first. Don't make excuses for your mistakes, but don't beat yourself up either. Know that you're a soul in a body on a mission from God above. And if you were not here, then the world will be missing a soul that needs to do something to help make this world better. If you are here, then you matter. Be kind to yourself, and then you'll be kind to others. Open your heart to yourself and be that person that you really want to be. Because in essence, you're even better than that. You're unlimited. And the amount of love in your heart for yourself, when your heart opens, it becomes so expansive that automatically you will want to love a fellow and help others and do acts of kindness. And that's Ahavas Chinam. That's baseless love. And now we can understand why it's taken 2,000 plus years to end the Geula. Because Moshiach is not coming to us. Mashiach is going to come through us. Make me a sanctuary, and I will dwell within them. Plural. If a sanctuary is singular, if the third base of Mikdash is one, then why does it say, I will dwell within them? And the commentators say, that's because them are each and every one of our hearts. So close your eyes. Remember who you really are. Remember you came down to this world on a mission. That mission is from the God, the King of the universe, our Father, who loves us, who knows us in and out. And He sent you here to fulfill your purpose. In our next episode, I will guide you in a meditation to help you live this way. To open your heart, to feel love for yourself, for others, for the world that God created, and for God Himself. God took us out of Egypt. That was the end of the first exile. And this time, we are going to take God out of exile. And may this happen today.